Hello, viewers, and welcome to another episode of Home 2.0. We are the Hamptons Privee Team. I'm Kim Kakerbeck. This is Tim Burch and David Tenenbaum.
Today's episode, we're going to focus on navigating your luxury seasonal market during the high busy time of the year. And we're going to give you some tips on getting around and being able to do everything you want to do in an area that's really crowded. And while we may be from the Hamptons, we're going to give you some ideas that you can use wherever your second home may be, whether it be Florida, Palm Springs, Vail, anything that's a seasonal market. So with that, if you are thinking about the Hamptons, we would love to hear from you, and our information is available at the end of the podcast. And with that, we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Dylan Pachulik, CEO of XL Real Property Management, New York's most trusted name in luxury property management since 2012. We specialize in managing individual apartments, townhouses, and rental buildings held by absentee owners. We maintain our properties with the highest standards of quality and service so that owners can choose a hassle-free approach to real estate investing. Rented or owner-occupied, we handle it all. For more information, contact us at xl-rpm.com.
Welcome back to Home 2.0, and let's just dive into navigating high season in your second home luxury market. The first thing I like to talk about is traffic and parking. In our market, pretty much the first summer holiday kicks off, and it's like the light switch goes on, and there's tons of cars out there. People are trying to get everywhere. And so timing is very important on when you do things. You try to schedule it, like in the morning or late in the afternoon. But you will kind of see the ebbs and flows of your actual market. In the Hamptons, you can have a car, but when I go to Aspen in the seasonal market, in the winter, you cannot park your car.
Right.
You cannot have a car, so you're either using.
You have to use a car service,
or you're just using the public transportation, or you're just walking around.
Right.
Aspen is a really tight kind of
They do
center.
have the buses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so to get from mountain to mountain, they have an amazing bus service, and there's no reason to even pay to use a car. And they run very frequently. And then when you're within town, just to navigate and find your own parking spot would be next to impossible.
Right.
And I think if you're in a town where, there's just, a big crush, especially on weekends, some of the tricks are, they may seem like common sense, but if you just don't think about it, go to the grocery store like on a Thursday morning at 8 a.m. and pick up everything you need. Like, you've got like everything you need for the weekend. So you're not making that one extra trip in heavy traffic to get back for, a single item. Also take advantage of your delivery services, whether you've got a Peapod or Fresh Market or something like that in your area. Get everything that you can delivered so that you don't have to go out for services.
Yeah, and another trick is learning the back roads.
Yeah.
So in a place like the Hamptons, we all know the little secret side streets and little routes that you can take to avoid our main thoroughfares, which are 27 and 114.
Right.
And the same thing occurs in other resort areas. And
Yeah.
the people that spend a lot of time in these locations learn what they are.
Right. I've the same situation in Miami Beach, just getting around. If you're trying to get on or off the island in Miami Beach, you want to go at a certain time. The mode of transportation can be important as well. In some cases, if it's not far, bikes are great. I have a Vespa scooter that I run around my little hometown of East Hampton in. Just anything you can to try to keep a big car out of traffic in the middle of the day, for us at least, is, a saving grace. We have to do it when we're working, but if you don't have to do it for your regular day-to-day activities, that's a whole other story.
And be sure not to tell everyone about the secret routes, because then they won't be secret anymore.
That's right. So speaking of working, when we are out and about in our cars during the high season, the cell service stinks. It's horrible. So
everybody's fighting for a signal.
Yeah. So dropped calls, you can't get through, and we're trying to work, and we're driving around showing houses. We're late for an appointment or early for an appointment, and we need to communicate. It's very difficult. So what's going on now is people are putting antennas on their car that will allow them to connect to the towers better than what their phone can do.
Yeah, it's like a boosted signal, like that kind of just goes right into your car. I can't tell you how many drop calls and unsent texts
Right.
that I have. And, usually they're urgent and I'm running late, or, I need to get in touch with somebody, or I'm working on a deal and I just get a drop call and I'm talking. And then I'm talking to myself.
Yeah, and in your home as well. I mean, the same thing happens, when we're in high season and there's so many people in town. The cell service gets really bad, even in your home. Like, I happen to live near the village where you would expect to have a strong signal, and you don't. So we have Wi-Fi calling. So if you've got Wi-Fi in your house, which everybody does, you connect to your Wi-Fi to call, and it's a much stronger signal, and your calls don't drop as much because it's insane otherwise.
Yeah, but think about getting the booster, because I think
Yes.
the three of us are, to kind of save us from the madness of the cell phone service.
Yeah, I'm seeing more and more of them in town as they're driving around on the
Yeah,
back of the car.
all of the Uber drivers and the other car service people, they put them on their cars, and you can tell.
Right.
And they stick way up.
Right.
But you can get one that's kind of flat to your car. So
A little
it's
bit
not
more
so-
sleek looking.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks, guys, and we'll be right back.
I'm Mark Lawrence, a founding partner of Worldwide Land Transfer. As a former real estate agent and attorney, I understand this business from every angle. We specialize in the complex transactions that define the luxury market: trust, LLCs, estates, and inherited properties. For more information, contact me directly at 917-204-5363.
From residential and commercial closings to litigation, Romer DeBoss is your full-service real estate law firm. We blend big firm knowledge with boutique-level attention, delivering outcomes that exceed every expectation. Contact us at romerdeboss.com.
Welcome back to Home 2.0. One of the other, things you have to think about when you're navigating your seasonal town, during the high traffic, is the idea of going to locations that are very busy at certain times of the day. Besides the grocery stores, like for us, an example, and in other areas, let's say in Florida, Miami Beach, whatever, is the beach. And, tourists and people who aren't regulars and who don't live in town, they tend to go like in the middle of the day. They want to be there during, the busiest
The
time,
hottest
whatever,
time,
the
yeah.
hottest time. But really, I think the best kept secret is, really going to the beach first thing in the morning. You can get there, go for a few hours, hang out, whatever. You can leave and or come back like very late in the day. I see more and more people who come to late in the
Sunset.
day, sunset. They've got their little hibachi grills or whatever. They bring their dinners with them. Those are the times when, as a resident, you can really enjoy that you're living in that area and don't feel the crush of people. Other areas have other tricks. David, you mentioned about skiing.
Yeah, so when I go skiing, I like to get on the slopes and get first tracks. Hopefully it snowed the night before and you would get that fresh layer of snow and you get on the lift. As that kind of day kind of progresses, you'll see more and more people getting on the mountain and it gets kind of skied off. So I like to start early and end a little bit early. Going back into our market, in order to be at one of the beaches, you need a parking permit and you need a beach pass. Anyone can go on the beach. So if you take an Uber to the beach or ride a bike to the beach, that's ideal and anyone can get access. But if you wanted to bring your vehicle and park on a beach, you would need a parking pass.
Right.
And just because you have a parking pass doesn't guarantee you get a parking spot. So if you go to the beach at 11:30 or 12 and you say, oh, I have a parking permit and I paid for this, but there's no spots, you have to sit and wait for an actual parking spot at one of the busy beaches. So I always think go early in the morning, or just like Tim said, go a little bit late in the evening, or even a beautiful time is to go on sunset. After 5 o'clock in our market, I think you're able to bring your dogs on to most beaches.
Yeah,
So
like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or very early in the morning.
Right.
I mean,
Yep.
you go to a beach. with
Yeah, there's a
your
beach
dog.
in our area that allows dogs up until 9 o'clock. It's different from community to community. Like Miami Beach doesn't really allow dogs at all. But I do see there's exceptions to that. but it's just really key. And if you don't happen to live close by, like if you have to go across a bridge, let's say, to get to a beach, that's when you really want to make sure you're going at the right time. Go early when there's not just crowds of people from all different areas coming to try to get to that beach, and stay late so you're not like fighting your way back as well. And I think that kind of also ties into the idea of other things you want to do in town, and that's restaurants. And for us, I mean, restaurants, especially on the weekends, but literally pretty much from, July to through August, September, getting a reservation is impossible. So there's some little tricks and trades that you can do in order to, score a reservation when everybody wants it. There you go.
As a local, as a homeowner in a second home luxury market, get to know the local people that work in those establishments. Kind of get friendly with them. Listen, you'll be frequenting these places all year round. Kind of get chummy with them. Listen, and I'm a big kind of proponent of, I like to eat late. I like to eat lunch a little bit later and then eat dinner a little bit later, but you can do it on the early side too and miss the crowds. So I think it's just about strategy and about kind of changing the flow of how you move with pretty much all of the crowds within your second home
Which
market.
kind of goes back to the skiing aspect, because if you ski through lunch when everybody goes in starting at 11:30 and you ski right through that time period, you're getting a lot of the mountain to yourself.
Exactly. And then you're not waiting on long lift lines, and you're not waiting on longer kind of lunch lines. And then when you're in the lodge, you're trying to find a place for you and your friends to sit down and eat, and there's no space. So it's always good to. It's all about timing.
Right. And what I find also is if you're, back to the restaurants, most people will go on an app like Resy or OpenTable to try to get a reservation, and you'll find that in very busy times, especially in seasonal markets, the restaurants restrict your ability to do that. Pick up the phone and call the restaurant. Even if you don't have a relationship with them, lots of times they're always able to sort of work people in. There are tables available that aren't available in those systems. So if you live in the market, as David said, and you've gotten to know people, you can, call a maitre d' at 5 o'clock and say, hey, is there any chance that I can get in tonight at, 7 or 8 o'clock with a 4? And I'm finding, more times out of not, they'll say, you know what, you can come in if you don't mind waiting a few minutes, something like that, versus, a stranger or somebody who's not from the community goes in to put their name in for a table. They can wait,
Or they're being so
half an hour.
aggressive.
Yes.
Which we see that all the time. People
we
just
do.
kind of feel entitled. They walk up, they think they deserve a table. They see an open table. They're like, we want that table.
Right.
We want it now. And that just doesn't work.
Right.
That doesn't work anywhere.
I always try to describe it, at least for us, in the Hamptons where, we're very busy, like those couple of months, like June, July, August, whatever. People come out for maybe a month, and they're trying to get everything done in a month that they want to do during their stay.
Absolutely.
Like they want to go to this restaurant, that restaurant. They want to go to this wine tasting, that place. And there's like this urgency to get that done. And I think, why have that stress?
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to be relaxing. So we,
it's like
if you're
OCD,
fortunate enough to
an
own a
overload.
home there
Yeah.
and you're spending more than just a month there or whatever, spread that out. There's no urgency. Even if you have guests, it's like, you know what, we can do this and this. We just won't be able to get everything done
In the first weekend.
in the first weekend, right?
And and I'm finding it even worse now with short-term rentals and Airbnb. It's
even
like
worse.
there's more urgency. We got to go here. We got to go here. We have to do everything. We have to fit in everything and get it on our story and, post it on Instagram. Getting back to the traffic, I kind of feel like you really got to be careful when you're driving. I mean, unfortunately for me, the last 2 years, I've had somebody hit my car where they're not paying attention or they're rushing around and they don't know where they're going, or they're on their phone and they're texting. And, it's just that's just the way of the world in our busy second home markets.
And short-term stays, like you just talked about, that's really what brings the traffic into these towns as well. Whereas traditionally before, at least for us, renters would rent for either the entire season, Memorial Day to Labor Day, or at least for a full month or 2 months. Now people are renting for short periods, a week or 2 weeks. And so those cars are coming in, they're coming out, and like they're going to the grocery store to get everything they need. They're trying to get to the beach every day. It's like a lot of people trying to move around at the same time. So as somebody who, owns in one of those areas, you really just kind of have to think ahead as to every move you make, because you've got the knowledge. Yeah, you know what to do.
Pick and choose when you can get around easier. So, all right. Well, thank you. That concludes our episode of Home 2.0. We are the Hamptons Privee Team. I'm Kim, this is Tim and David, and if you are looking to buy, sell, or rent in the Hamptons, we really hope that you will reach out to us. Thank you.
What do you really need to know about buying or selling a home? First, it's serious business, and it's complicated. There's a lot of money on the table, and emotion too. You need an agent who knows the ropes. So, whether you're buying or selling your home, work with professionals who have a mastery of the craft.